So Minnesota has looked at some, veteran safeties as of late. Iloka and Adai most recently. Obviously, they also claimed a one Steven Parker off of waivers from good old Miami. And now we have two other guys with Viking connections in Clinton-Dix and Damarious Randall, recently released. Randall was released today, and I think Clinton-Dix was released yesterday or the day before. And so let's go through some things. So statistically, Clinton-Dix had a better season last year, but they're relatively similar except for kind of two stats. And the targets, he had 44. He allowed 26 completions. That's 59.1%. 285 yards, 11 yards per completion, 6.5 yards per target. He only allowed one score and had a 67 rating against him because he also had two interceptions last year for the Bears. And then you have Damarious Randall, 42 targets, 24 allowed. That's 57.1%, so slightly better there for Damarious Randall when you're talking about a percentage. 310 yards, worse. 12.9 yards per completion, 7.4 yards per target. And this is the big one where it's like, yeesh. He allowed 8 scores. He didn't get an interception, which equals a quarterback rating of 120. Not the best. And for Clinton-Dix, I think Minnesota should be fairly familiar with the guy in general because he's played 4.5 years in the division between Green Bay and the Bears. I say 4.5 because halfway through 2017 they traded him to Washington, now the football team, but formerly not. And so they've seen a lot of tape on the guy. For years they watched him and he was there. So they should be familiar with him. 3.5 of those years, though, were spent with current Viking senior defensive assistant Dom Capers as the defensive coordinator. So, once again, a guy that was there when they made him a first-round draft pick. And he does have some corner capabilities as well. He had made a Pro Bowl in 2016, and 16 career interceptions for him. So not bad at all for Clinton-Dix. And then you have Damarious Randall, who he spent 3 years in Green Bay, all of them with Dom Capers as the defensive coordinator. And he's a safety with some corner capabilities as well. He actually played a lot of corner in his years with Green Bay, and he was probably more corner than safety with them. And he did give up the 8 scores last year, but in 2018 he only gave up 3, and he had a 79.6 rating against him in 2018. And you see some things in him that you do like. Like, once again, we're talking corner capabilities. He has last year was his first year not getting at least 3 interceptions. And a big part of, why that rating was so high is because he didn't get the interceptions. He has 14 career interceptions, and last year was not only his first year with none, but last year was the first year he didn't get at least 3. So he's been pretty consistent with that overall. And, yeah. So just the idea of trying to add one of them, I don't think you should be shocked by Minnesota at least looking around it. I don't know if they sign one because there are a lot of things coming out of Dallas that's like, well, Clinton-Dix doesn't look like the player we thought he'd be. And I don't know what the deal is with that because they're both turning 28. They're both turning into their prime here. And the numbers don't suggest that they are going to decline after last season. But it appears something has happened to them. I don't know what it is. From everything I read on Damarious Randall, didn't really look like he was stinking up the joint, and that one's a little bit more shocking than Clinton-Dix. So take that as you will on that. But them both being able to have some corner ability is super helpful because, as we all know, really, really young corners on this football team. And so if one or two start to struggle, you may have a guy to replace that a little bit and help mitigate the problems. which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. And it really doesn't hurt that under Dom Capers only, these two guys combined for 28 interceptions, and they have been healthy. That's the other part of that, health. And so they have been looking for these veteran safeties, and if they're going to act on signing a veteran safety, these two by far probably have the best chance to land, I would think. Just from the outside looking in, it certainly seems as if this would be a pretty easy assumption to come into. So I would like to know your guys' comments down below. Liking, subscribing, super helpful. And until next time, I bid you all adieu.